One country has an $85 billion food industry, over 30 wildly different regional cuisines, and a single dish so controversial that the British government tried to claim it as their own national treasure. India feeds 1.4 billion people every single day, but the rest of the world has only tasted about 5% of what comes out of those kitchens. We are counting down from 10, and trust me, you are not ready for number 1. Cuisine number 10, chicken tikka, masala. We are starting with the most controversial dish in all of Indian food, because there is a very real chance that India did not even invent it. The most popular story goes like this. A Bangladeshi chef working in a restaurant in Glasgow during the 1960s served dry chicken tikka to a customer who complained there was no gravy. So the chef grabbed a can of tomato soup, mixed in some cream and spices, poured it over the chicken, and accidentally created one of the most ordered meals on the planet. The British government loved it so much they actually debated making chicken tikka masala the official national dish of Britain. But here's where it gets interesting. Every single ingredient in that dish, the yogurt marinated chicken, the tandoor clay oven, the cumin, coriander, turmeric, garam masala, and chili powder, all of it traces straight back to centuries-old Punjabi cooking traditions. So the British assembled the final product on their soil, but India built every piece of the engine. You eat it with garlic naan and pilau rice mixed right into the sauce, and it hits creamy, smoky, and mildly spicy all at once. That is why it works on basically every human tongue. And if that is what happens when Indian food travels abroad, wait until you see what never had to leave. Cuisine number 9, Pani puri. This might be the most fun you will ever have eating food, and it is also the closest thing to a competitive sport in Indian cooking. You get a plate of tiny, hollow, crispy dough balls called puris. You crack a hole in the top, stuff them with boiled potatoes and chickpeas and tangy tamarind chutney, and then the vendor fills the whole thing with an ice-cold spiced mint and chili water called Pani. The catch is you have to eat each one in a single bite, and you have to do it fast because that water dissolves the crispy shell in about 3 seconds flat. The flavor explosion is genuinely wild. You get the crunch of the shell, the starchy softness of the potato, the sweet tang of the tamarind, and then that cold, minty, spicy water floods your entire mouth all at once. 5 completely different sensations in a 2-second bite. Mumbai calls this snack Pani puri, Delhi calls it golgappa, and Kolkata calls it puchka, and every city will fight you if you say the other version is better. The unwritten street rule is simple: you keep eating until you raise your hand to stop. That is Indian street food at its most chaotic, but the next dish is the polar opposite. Slow, patient, and proof that lentils can destroy any meat curry on the planet. Cuisine number 8, dal makhani. The word lentils makes your brain go straight to sad health food. Dal makhani from Punjab is about to fix that permanently. This is whole black lentils and kidney beans, slow cooked with butter, cream, tomatoes, and spices for so long that the final product tastes like something that should have steak in it. In the original recipe from a Delhi restaurant called Moti Mahal, the same place that accidentally invented butter chicken, these lentils sat on a low charcoal flame for up to 18 hours straight. That is not a typo. 18 hours of slow cooking is what breaks the lentils down until they turn creamy on their own. And then the butter and cream take it somewhere your brain cannot believe came from beans. You serve it with tandoori naan or a flaky paratha and drop a cold slab of butter on top right before the first bite. India has over 400 million vegetarians, and dal makhani is the dish that proves their food tradition is not about missing out on meat. Cuisine number 7, Idli sambar. Ayurvedic medicine has been telling people how to eat for over 3,000 years in South India, and their number 1 recommended breakfast is a soft white disc that you would probably walk right past. Idlis are steamed rice cakes made from a fermented batter of rice and ground black lentils, and they might be the single healthiest breakfast food in all of India. The fermentation process creates natural probiotics and breaks down the starches, so your body absorbs every nutrient more efficiently. They are low in calories, gentle on the stomach, and over 300 million South Indians eat them almost every single morning. You dip idlis into sambar, which is a hot tangy lentil and vegetable soup that hits sour and savory at the same time, along with coconut chutney for sweetness and a red chili chutney if you want some fire. The beauty of this dish is that it does not need heavy spices or rich gravies to be satisfying. But do not let all that health talk fool you, because the next entry is about as far from healthy eating as Indian food can possibly get. Cuisine number 6. Chole bhature. This is pure Punjabi street food chaos served on a metal plate. Chole bhature is a spicy chickpea curry paired with massive deep-fried bread called bhature that puffs up like a balloon the second it hits the hot oil. There is nothing light about this meal, nothing delicate, and absolutely nothing apologetic. It is designed to fill you up so hard that you skip lunch entirely. The chickpeas cook with a dark tea bag in the water to give them that deep brown color you cannot get any other way. And then they simmer in a gravy of onions, tomatoes, ginger, garlic, and dried mango powder called amchur that adds this sour tang that cuts through all the richness. The bhatura dough is made from flour, yogurt, and baking soda, which is why it puffs up so dramatically. You eat this standing at a street stall in Old Delhi at 7 in the morning with raw onion slices and green chili pickle, and one plate will carry you through to dinner. But remember that number 1 dish we teased at the beginning, the one that starts more arguments than anything else in India? We are getting closer. Cuisine number 5. Vindaloo. Vindaloo is that friend who shows up to the party already screaming. It is loud, it is aggressive, and it does not care if you are ready for it. And the funniest part about this dish is that it is not even originally Indian. Portuguese colonizers brought something called carne de vinha d'alhos to Goa in the 1500s, which was basically just pork sitting in wine vinegar and garlic. Goan cooks looked at that recipe, said, "This is cute," swapped the wine for local palm vinegar, threw in a fistful of red chilies, and created a dish the Portuguese could never have dreamed of. A proper vindaloo is pork marinated for hours in a paste of dried Kashmiri chilies, vinegar, garlic, ginger, cumin, cloves, cinnamon, and black pepper. That vinegar does double duty as a tenderizer and a preservative, which is why vindaloo actually gets better the next day. You eat it with plain steamed rice because your tongue genuinely needs the break between spoonfuls. Most restaurants outside Goa just made vindaloo the hottest thing on the menu and called it a day, but the real version is about the war between acid and heat, not just burning your face off. That balance is what makes it legendary. And if vindaloo fights with fire, the next dish fights with pure beauty. Cuisine number 4. Rogan Josh. Rogan Josh from Kashmir is the kind of dish that stops you before you even taste it, because this deep red lamb curry is so vibrant it looks almost painted. Kashmir sits at the very top of India, surrounded by mountains, and the food up there reflects those freezing temperatures with rich, warming, meat-heavy dishes. Over 30 different mutton preparations exist in Kashmiri cooking alone, which makes it the most meat-obsessed regional cuisine in the entire country. The name comes from Persian, Rogan for oil, and Josh for intense heat, and it arrived in Kashmir through Central Asian trade routes during the Mughal era. What local cooks did was adapt it with a root called ratanjat that gives the curry its blood-red color without adding a single unit of extra spice heat. The main spice is actually fennel powder mixed with dried ginger and Kashmiri red chili. You eat Rogan Josh as part of a wazwan, which is a Kashmiri feast that can serve up to 36 courses on a single copper plate. And you want to pair it with plain steamed basmati rice and let that red gravy soak deep into every grain. We are now in the top 3, and the dishes from here on out are not just food. They are cultural institutions that shaped how the world sees Indian cooking. Cuisine number 3, Dosa. South Indian food is a completely different universe from what the outside world thinks of as Indian food. The spices shift, rice replaces wheat, and coconut ends up in almost everything. And the single greatest example of that shift is the dosa, a paper-thin, crispy crepe made from fermented rice batter and ground black lentils. The secret weapon of dosa is fermentation. You soak rice and urad dal overnight, grind them into a smooth paste, and let the batch sit for 8 to 12 hours, while natural bacteria do their thing. That process gives the dosa its signature sour tang and also makes it easier to digest. When you pour that batter onto a scorching hot griddle and spread it razor thin, it transforms into a golden sheet so crispy it shatters the instant you bite down. The classic masala dosa comes stuffed with spiced potatoes made with mustard seeds, turmeric, curry leaves, and green chilies. On the side, you get coconut chutney and a hot bowl of sambar, which is a tangy lentil soup loaded with vegetables. That combination of exterior crunch, soft spiced potato center, and the sour warmth of sambar is one of the most complete single bites in all of Indian cooking. Cuisine number 2, butter chicken. Butter chicken is probably the single reason your local Indian restaurant exists, and barely anyone knows it was created completely by accident. In the 1950s, a chef named Kundan Lal Gujral at Moti Mahal restaurant in Delhi had leftover tandoori chicken drying out at the end of the night. Instead of throwing it away, he tossed the chicken into a quick sauce of tomatoes, butter, and cream to save it. That sauce turned out so ridiculously good that it became the restaurant's #1 seller within days and eventually spread to every corner of the planet. The reason butter chicken works on literally every palate is the composition. Chicken gets soaked in yogurt and spices, then charred inside a tandoor clay oven until it gets those signature blackened edges. That smoky chicken drops into a smooth tomato gravy, cooked down with butter, heavy cream, dried fenugreek leaves, and a gentle garam masala blend. The flavor hits sweet, savory, tangy, and creamy simultaneously, which is why even people who claim they hate spicy food will destroy a plate of butter chicken without a second thought. You eat it with naan pulled fresh from the tandoor, and you tear the bread with your hands, scoop the sauce, and make sure every bite has both gravy and chicken together. Butter chicken is loved on every continent on Earth, but the #1 spot belongs to the dish that Indians will literally argue about until the end of time. Cuisine number 1, Biryani. If you have ever seen two Indian friends get into a full-blown screaming match over rice, they were arguing about biryani. This single dish is the most ordered food on delivery apps across all of India right now, pulling millions of orders every day on Swiggy and Zomato. Hyderabad says theirs is the original. Lucknow says Hyderabad stole it. Kolkata says both of them are wrong, and none of them are backing down anytime soon. The real history goes back to the 1500s during the Mughal Empire. Food historian Lizzie Collingham traced modern biryani to the royal kitchens of Emperor Akbar around 1556, where Persian rice cooking met the spicy traditions of India and produced something neither culture could have made alone. The word comes from the Persian biryan, which means fried before cooking. And then there is the legend that Mumtaz Mahal, the queen who inspired the Taj Mahal itself, ordered her royal chefs to create this dish after she found Mughal soldiers looking dangerously underfed in the barracks. What makes biryani different from any other rice dish on the planet is the layering. You cook marinated meat separately with yogurt, cardamom, saffron, cinnamon, and cloves. You half cook the rice on its own. Then you stack them in alternating layers inside a sealed pot and slow cook it all, using a method called dum that traps every molecule of steam inside, forcing every grain of rice to absorb the flavor of the meat beneath it. The Hyderabadi version smacks you with aggressive spice and rivers of ghee. The Lucknow version from the Nawabs of Awadh is delicate and almost perfumed, like eating in a palace. And the Kolkata version throws an entire potato in, because when the British exiled Nawab Wajid Ali Shah to Calcutta, his cooks could not afford enough meat and had to get creative with what they had. You eat it fresh from the pot with cold raita on the side and a boiled egg on top. One dish, 100 cities, a billion opinions, and zero chance anyone will ever agree. India has been cooking for over 5,000 years across 30 different regional cuisines, and we only covered 10 today. Hundreds more are waiting, from the coconut-heavy seafood of Kerala to the fiery pork curries of Nagaland. Hit subscribe so you do not miss the next one, and that video right there will take you even deeper down the rabbit hole.